Hello everyone, let's start our chapter Civilizing the Nation, Educating, Civilizing the Native, Educating the Nation. Today our topic about our ancient Pathshala system. Everyone please, what happened to local school? Yes, do you know the idea of how the children were taught in uh, pre-British time? And have you wondered whether they went to school or not, or and if there were school, what happened to these under British rule? What kind of curriculum they had? So let's talk about all these things. So the first, the report of William Adam. Yes, in 1830, William Adam, a Scottish missionary who toured the district Bihar and Bengal, and he had asked by the company to report on the progress of education in vulnerable schools, means local schools. And the what report framed by Adam, it was too interesting. So let's have a look. Before the advent of English, the both Hindu and the Muslim had their own educational institution like madrasa and Pathshala, mosque, temple school. So according to William Adam, who was a Scottish missionary, according to him, that what he found that in the 1830 there were 1 lakh of the Pathshala, about 20 lakh students in each Pathshala. Sorry, in all Pathshala, in both in 1 lakh Pathshala. So it's mean the in each Pathshala approximately 20 students in each Pathshala. So the total number of children being taught in these Pathshala considered over 20 lakhs. Mostly these institutions were set up by wealthy people and sometimes by the gurus themselves, according to William Adam. So these institutions run by the wealthy people or by the guru. No separate school buildings. In some places, classes were held in under banyan trees or temples, mosque, okay, or sometime at guru's home. These depended on the income of the parents. The students sat together in one place and they were not separated into classes. So the guru separated with a group of children with the level of learning. Okay. This system of education quite flexible and catered to the local needs. What it's mean flexible? Flexible mean that few things you associate with your school today were present in the Pathshala at the time. So these, but that time these were not fixed. The fees was not fixed. No printed books, no fixed curriculum, no fixed syllabus, no separate buildings, no benches, no chair, no blackboard, even no annual examination, no regular timetable. Okay, so this way you can say the flexibility and other more thing like the fee depended on the income of the parents. If the child a rich parent, so the rich had to pay more than poor, and teaching was oral, verbally. Okay, because as I already told you, there had no books, and the guru decided what to teach, and that is they decided according to the level of the student, according to the IQ of the student. So they were not separated on the basis of their the students were not separated on the basis of different classes. Okay. And in harvesting time, everyone busy in their field. Okay. The classes were not held during the harvest time, when the rulers' children often worked in the field. So the Pathshala started once again when the crop had been cut and stored. So this meant that even the children of peasant family could study. In that point of view, so during harvesting time, the school closed for them. So in this way, we can say the flexibility of that system. Now come to the next. No routine, new routines and new rules. Sorry. Up to the mid 19th century, the company was concerned primarily with the higher education. So for this, which kind of step taken by the Britishers? It allowed the local Pathshala to function without much interference of British. So after 1854, the company decided to improve the system of Varnakula education, local system of education. It feels that this could be done by the introducing order within the system. Introduce new rules and regulation, new routine, new rules. Okay. Or they also require, as I told you, they had no examination, annual examination. So they also ensuring the regular inspection. So which kind of measures taken by the company? Let's see. So first, for the inspection, the company appointed a number of government pundits and the each charge of looking after few to 5 schools. So each on 5 school, one officer as a teacher or the government pandit appointed. The task of pandit was to visit the Pathshala and try to improve the standard of teaching. And the guru submit the report, what he observes. So he submit the report of the system, education system of the schooling system of that report to company. The submit periodic report to take class according to the regular timetable. Teaching was now to be based on textbook and the learning was as to be tested through the system of annual examination. So that this way you can say the new routine and new rules imposed on the Varnakal system of education, local system of education by the company in India. Now the students were asked to pay the regular fees. So you can observe the changes. Earlier they had not fixed fees, but now the company fixed the fees. Fine. Attend regular classes. They had proper timetable. They sit on fixed seat. They obey the rule of the school and of rules of the discipline. The Pathshala which accepted the new rule was supported by government grants. Means the government provide them the financial support to them. Those follow these rules. Those who were unwilling to work within the new system receive no government support. Is it clear? So those follow the company rules, they get the government aids. Over the time, the guru who wanted to retain their independence found difficult to compete with the government aided and regulated Pathshala. Now the new rules and routine had another consequences in the early system. Children were poor peasant family had been able to families had been able to go to Pathshala since the timetable was flexible, because during harvesting time no need to move in the school, visit in the school. But the discipline of new system demanded regular attendance, even during harvest time when the children of the poor family had to work in the field. Inability to attend school came to be seen as indiscipline, as evidence of the lack of the desire to learn. So that predicable, it disturbed the student, their report. Okay. So the new, you can say the new system and the rules were not flexible according to the people's needs. But I feel that these were good, but not flexible. Fine, everyone. Let's talk about Shri Aurobindo Ghosh. Yes, in a speech delivered January 15, 1908 in Bombay, Aurobindo Ghosh stated that the goal of the nation education was awaken the spirit of nationality among the students. उनमें राष्ट्रता की भावना लाना. This required the contemplation of the heroic deeds of our ancestors. The education should be imparted in vernacular so as to reach the largest number of people. That the education should be like that which tell the student about our glorious past, according to him. Aurobindo Ghosh also emphasized that all the students should remain the connect to their own roots. So the text should be based on this, which tells the student about their past, their country past. In this way, we can awake the feeling of nationality among them. They should also take the fullest advantage of modern scientific discoveries and Western experiment in popular government. Moreover, the students should also learn some useful craft so that which is very practical for them, which made them independent, so could be able to find some moderated remunerative employment after leaving their school. So in this way, they can train the children, train the skillful citizen through this knowledge. Fine. Now let's talk about the agenda for the national education. The British officials were not only people thinking about the education in India. From the early 19th century, the many thinkers of the different part of the India began to talk the need of the wider spread of education. The Swadeshi and Boycott movement shook the very foundation British Empire in India. During this movement, the student took a major part, which drew upon the worth of the British government. So let's talk about the development. Impressed with the development in Europe, and some Indians felt that Western education would help modernize India. So they promoted the Western education in India. Those were supported Western education. They urged the British to open more school, more missionary school, colleges, universities, spend more money in that in our country because they promoted Western education. Fine. Next, English education has enslaved us. So let's talk about this. Mahatma Gandhi, what was the point of view Mahatma Gandhi on this? Let's talk about Mahatma Gandhi. The colonial education created a sense of inferiority in the mind of Indians. उनको अपनी एजुकेशन सिस्टम, अपनी वर्निकल सिस्टम ही उनको नीचे लगने लगेगी इफ वी प्रमोटिंग मोर द वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन इन आवर कंट्री, और वो हमें ही हमारी सभ्यता से दूर ले जाएगी. इट मेड देम वेस्टर्न सिविलाइजेशन सुपीरियर एंड डिस्ट्रॉय द प्राइड दे हैड इन देयर ओन कल्चर. हम उसको नहीं पूछेंगे. There were the poison this education. क्या था? Said Mahatma Gandhi, it was a sinful, it enslaved Indians in cast and evil spell on them. because the people start and respecting and valuing the giving किसको western education, appreciating everything वो start करें because it changed their type of way of living, their taste, their desire. So now they start appreciating everything that they came from west, and Indian educated in these institutions began admiring British rule. The Mahatma Gandhi wanted an education could help the Indians recover this sense of dignity, self-respect, as you know. During the national movement, he urged the student to leave the educational institution in order to show that to British that the Indians were no longer willing to be enslaved. कि हम आपके दास बन गए. Mahatma Gandhi strongly believed that the language of teaching, the mode of the language should be in that which can easily understand by the student. So that should be a Varnukar. वो उनको ही अपने अगर if we teach the student in the English language, वो उनको ही अपनी सभ्यता से और अपनी लैंग्वेज से दूर ले जाएगा, अजनबी बना देगा, make them stranger on their own land. He said that Western education focus on reading and writing rather than practical knowledge, oral knowledge. The Western education value the textbook rather than live example or practical knowledge. Fine. He asked that education ought to be developed. क्या करे person mind and soul, और वो कैसे होगा? Literacy, a simple soul, simple learning to read and write and understand. To learning by doing. They emphasize the Mahatma Gandhi promoted learning by doing. The each and every student should learn through practical knowledge by doing. You learn a craft, how to different things operated. This would develop their mind and soul, their capacity to understand the concept. Fine. I hope it is understood by all. So, as the nationalist sentiment spread, other thinkers also began thinking the system of national education, which would be radically different from the set by the British. A border peace. Yes. I think many of you have heard about Shanti Niketan, which was established by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay. One of the greatest saints of the modern India, who winner the Nobel Prize, Tagore contributed a lot the field of education. As a child, he hated the suffocating atmosphere of the so-called school. The school him appear like a prison. When he was in childhood, he was learning. He did not like to visit the school. The school to him appeared like a prison because there he could not do what he felt like doing. The experience of his school days in Calcutta shaped Tagore's ideas of education. When they grew up, the thought of setting up a school where the child was where the children was happy, where they could be free to do whatever he liked, where he was able to explore his own thoughts, desire, creativity, that kind of atmosphere he wanted to grow for the children. He disliked and rigid and restrictions discipline of the school system. So he felt this childhood ought to be time of self learning instead of being encircled by the strict rule regulation or suffocating atmosphere of the prison school. With such view, the Rabindranath Tagore laid the foundation of Shanti Niketan in 1901, the ideal institution of the natural environment. It is far from the it was located in the outskirts of the city. Such view of Rabindranath Tagore laid the foundation. Okay. According to only such institution could prove an abode of play, peace, where living in harmony with nature. Children could cultivate their native, no, ignore native, but natural, cultivate their natural creativity. That is why Tagore chose to set up educational institution about 100 kilometers away from the hustle and bustle of the Calcutta. In 1924, Shanti Niketan became a full-fledged university with the name of Vishwa Bharat. Rabindranath Tagore wanted to combine elements of modern Western civilization with he saw the best within the Indian tradition. So you can observe the Shanti Niketan is the best school because you also feel that the school with no restriction, no rule regulation, that is a, you can say, good school, है ना? That is why Shanti Niketan tried to teach science and technology along with art, music, and dance. Because the main motive of that school to create their natural to give the chance to student to enhance its his or her natural creativity.